Hello everyone. I hope most of you have written answer to the question that was given in the morning. पर अगर नहीं भी लिखा है तो भी this is a video that will address the basic from the very beginning. And I'm sure कि इसको देखने के बाद आप और अच्छे से आंसर्स लिख पाएंगे. So let's get started. तो आंसर लिखने के दो सबसे मेजर एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं, प्रेजेंटेशन एंड कंटेंट. मतलब आप लिख कैसे रहे हैं और आप लिख क्या रहे हैं, और दोनों का इक्वल महत्व है यहाँ पर. ठीक है, हम आगे की स्लाइड में इस प्रेजेंटेशन में स्पेशली हम ये डिस्कस करेंगे कि आंसर को लिखना कैसे है. कंटेंट आप ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम डेवलप कर सकते हैं, अच्छे से अच्छा कंटेंट डेवलप करेंगे, हम वो भी डिस्कस करेंगे. पर इस वीडियो का टारगेट है कि गिवन एक बेसिक अमाउंट ऑफ कंटेंट उसको किस तरह से प्रेजेंट किया जाए कि आपका आंसर एक सिस्टमैटिक क्लियर थॉट प्रोसेस को पुट फोर्थ कर सके. ठीक है, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So how to write has four, I have broken it down into four very basic dimensions, जिसको ध्यान में रख के हम एक अच्छा आंसर को अच्छा कैसे दिखना चाहिए वो इंश्योर कर सकते हैं. देखो क्या होता है ना, आप एक एग्जामिनर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचिए कि इसको एक दिन में बहुत सारी कॉपीज चेक करनी है एंड लगभग सारी कॉपीज में सेम टाइप का कंटेंट लिखा है, तो डिफरेंशिएटिंग फैक्टर क्या बचेगा? प्रेजेंटेशन ही तो बचेगा. आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन एक तरह से आपकी प्रोफाइल है. यू डू नॉट मीट द एग्जामिनर. द एग्जामिनर हैज टू असेस ऑल द क्वालिटीज ऑफ सिविल सर्वेंट्स फ्रॉम द आंसर यू प्रेजेंटेड. सो द greater clarity, greater flow, greater understanding your answer can reflect in first glance. That will give you the maximum marks. So in this, handwriting becomes very important because you'll only be awarded marks if the examiner can understand what you've written, and that's basically through your handwriting, right? Then orientation we'll discuss further, but it's basically a systematic way of presenting your answer. Then headings and subheadings are subparts of orientation only, but it does two things. Like it will give your answer a flow, and it will also help you generate points in very generic questions. And then there are differentiating tools. Monolithic text writing, first it takes a lot of time, and that it's very usual. It's something that everybody is doing. So there needs to be some value addition in your answer. Tables, maps or diagrams, they are not just for beautification. They also serve certain purposes. Like when a question is very essay type, you draw a diagram and it will become like you can give large amount of information in a very concise manner. And all these aspects we'll cover gradually in subsequent videos. In this video, we'll see the very basics of these four dimensions, and we'll discuss it through the question that was given in the morning. So the question that was given was, discuss reasons for India being a water stressed country. Now this is a very बेसिक क्वेश्चन. इसके लिए आपको बहुत क्यूरेटेड नॉलेज होने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. आप अपने बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग से भी इस आंसर को लिख सकते हो. ये आंसर मेरा लिखा हुआ आंसर है, और इसमें आप देख सकते हो कि माई हैंड राइटिंग इज कंसिडरेबली फाइन. आई थिंक इट्स नॉट डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड. I have created subheadings, I have drawn a graph, and I have written most of it in points. So in first glance, when you see this answer, it looks that there is a systematic thought process in it. This is how you should. I mean, I'm not asking you to write it like this. Write in your first answer would not be like this, but this is where we have to gradually reach. And it's not the most perfect answer. It's something that I had written and I've put it here. It is written in during the exam process, so it's written in 7 minutes. So that is also a very important aspect that you have to keep in mind. So now I've broken it down. Like, see, what is the most important purpose? That the handwriting should be legible and clear. You'll only be awarded marks if the examiner can understand what you've written, and the easier you make the job of the examiner, the more marks you'll get. Okay, so here you see the same content is written in two different handwritings. The first one, you can clearly make out the difference. Like, you definitely, the first one is easy to interpret, better to look, like soothing to eyes also. The second one is very difficult to comprehend. It's very clumsy, so it gives impression of somebody who does not have clarity or who's rushing. So writing is, your copy is your profile. The better systematic copy you'll give to the examiner, he'll be able to see more officer like qualities in you, and that is how he's going to give you marks. Okay, now next is orientation. Now in orientation, see, the first part that you'll start your question with is writing an intro. Give certain space from the margins, so that it is clearly visible that you're starting your answer from here. Between intro and body, there should be a certain gap of a line that it's clearly visible. Okay, the introduction is finished and you're starting the body of your answer. Now, mostly the questions that are asked are either you're supposed to give reasons for something, or you're supposed to explain consequences of certain policy, or any such keyword would be there. Now, when you start your body, start again from the same place you started your intro with. Okay, write an introductory line like the following are the reasons for this. After that, put a big heading like economic reasons. Make a box around it, and it's not going to take a lot of time. It might look like it takes a lot of time. It doesn't. When it comes into your practice, it will not take that much amount of time. Then after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever points you're writing, write them in one sequence and write them in a way that it's intended towards inside. Then repeat the same for as many headings as you are supposed to write. Then end your body in at a place that there is certain space that is available for you to write conclusion also. Now, introduction and conclusion are really important. We'll discuss that in further classes, but conclusion is something after which you're going to get marks. So it should be clearly visible, like you're ending your body here for suppose, then again leave certain space that it is visible to the examiner that now you're writing your conclusion. Okay, so this is how you have to format your answer. Like, there should be a particular you should keep in mind the margins, you should keep in mind the spacing between your lines. Your answer should look together. It should not look clumsy. It should not look like very tight, it's very difficult to understand. Everything should be systematic, and it also shows the more you practice like this, your thought process will also streamline. Like, presentation and content are not like two exclusive things, they are very closely related. Now, if you have the habit of making headings and subheadings, you'll also think, okay, what is the economic reason for it? What is the social reason for it? What other heading, political heading I can create? I can write solutions, I can write government steps taken, I have to write a conclusion. So what kind of conclusion I have to write? Just making it neat and systematic will help you. Now, this is I've just written the same content by creating headings and subheadings and by not creating the headings and subheadings. Now you can clearly make out the difference. Here the answer looks better, definitely. Then the examiner will also have a print that, okay, this person knows that water stress is not only because of geoclimatic reason, also because of there are certain government policy reasons. So you've separated them, you've written them separately. That gives a good impression. And there are 5 points only, but it has covered the entire page. And coverage is really important because it gives an impression that this person has knowledge. Now look at the second part where we've not divided into headings and subheadings. It looks very monolithic. The same content is there, but the coverage is also not complete. See, now to cover the same amount of page, you will need 3 more points. But here 5 points, you've covered the entire page. Now you could go to some other dimension of the same question, right? So headings and subheadings play a very important role in this way. They provide you greater coverage. They also provide you a systematic way of thinking. So both of these are really important. Now, in the answer that I had written, I'd used a graph to show the declining per capita water availability. Now, this graph becomes very relevant when you have to talk about water stress. Similarly, now you don't have to write a lot. You don't have to write a lot to justify why is India a water stress country or not. You can just put this graph and you can show that over the period of time, the per capita availability of water is continuously declining. And as per the international figures, we are in a water stress condition, and we might reach into water scarce condition in near future. So this is not a graph that can only be used here. It is a graph that's the trend based graphs are such graphs that you can use in multiple places. So you should keep collecting such graphs, diagrams, maps from your current affairs. You could create a separate repository and use them whenever you come across such questions. You will definitely have to have a repository before, because in the examination hall, when you have to write the answer in 7 minutes, trust me, you will never be able to come out with something that is creative. It is only something that you've practiced and internalized that will come out in the examination hall. So such things are really important. In a competition that is completely cutthroat, you need something that's different from what others are doing. And these small things, when done consistently over a period of time, pay a lot of